In this video, you will learn what a demand function is and what factors have an impact on it. Simply put, a demand function is a function displaying the number of goods consumers are willing to purchase at a given price. The demand function is usually given by an equation or a demand curve, which is the visual representation of the demand function. Now, let's study the demand function through an example. This demand function displays the demand for bread on a given market. The x-axis displays the quantity in terms of the number of loaves, while the y-axis displays the bread price in terms of dollars per unit. This is a common way to illustrate the demand function, although sometimes you might see graphs where the price is shown on the x-axis and the quantity on the y-axis. We can express the demand function in terms of quantity as a function of price, or in other words, how many product units consumers are willing to purchase at a given price. The equation of our demand function is Q equals 20 minus 2P, where 20 stands for the intercept and minus 2 stands for the slope. How can we interpret this function? If P equals 0, meaning that the price of bread is 0, then consumers are willing to purchase 20 loaves of bread. They don't want to purchase an infinite amount, even though the bread is free. This could be because they don't have enough storage capacity to store more than 20 loaves, or perhaps they don't like the bread enough to purchase more than 20 loaves. If the price of bread is $1, consumers are willing to purchase 18 loaves, which is slightly below the 20 units they were willing to purchase at price 0. Similarly, if one loaf of bread costs $2, consumers are willing to buy 16 loaves, which is once again a lower number of loaves compared to the loaves they were willing to purchase for $1. This also means that the demand function has a negative or downward slope. Why is that? Because consumers are willing to purchase more units at a lower price and fewer units at a higher price. Makes sense, right? Usually, we express the demand function in the form of the inverse demand function, where we express price in terms of quantity. In our case, the inverse demand function is P equals 10 minus 5Q, which represents consumers' willingness to pay for a certain quantity of bread in terms of loaves. After understanding the basics of the demand function, the next thing you want to know is what factors can impact this function. You already know that product price has an influence on how many products consumers are willing to purchase. However, changes in product price don't change the demand function itself. It only changes the number of products consumers are willing to purchase. On the other hand, there are some factors that can shift the demand function from its original place. For instance, changes in consumer taste or consumer income can shift the demand function inwards or outwards. Let's look at an example. Let's say that due to recent changes in consumer taste, consumers now demand fewer loaves of bread as before, which shifts the demand curve inwards. If the price of bread is 0, they only demand 10 loaves of bread compared to 20 in the original example. If the price is $1, consumers demand 8 loaves of bread instead of 18 loaves, and so on. The new inverse demand function becomes P equals 5 minus 0.5Q. I hope you found this video useful, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos.